Federal judge says former President Trump knew his voter fraud claims were bogus, but that he signed legal documents anyway, making false allegations under oath while fully aware they were false allegations. If the judge is right, that may be a crime.
This is absolutely devastating for Donald Trump, and I mean that with every ounce of seriousness I have. Because what just happened isn't another political controversy that gets argued on cable news. Isn't another he said she said where you can't really know the truth. This is multiple judges in multiple courtrooms looking directly at Donald Trump and saying on the record in official court rulings that his sworn testimony is not credible, that he lied, that when he raised his hand and swore to tell the truth, he didn't. And one judge didn't just say it. Judge actually fined Trump $10,000 right there in open court after catching him lying on the witness stand. $10,000 for lying under oath. That's judge telling you to your face in front of everyone that you're a liar and hitting you with financial penalty on the spot. And this isn't isolated incident, this is pattern. Multiple judges, multiple cases, all reaching same conclusion. Trump's sworn testimony cannot be trusted. He lies under oath when it's convenient, and courts are documenting it in permanent record that follows him forever. But real quick, if you want to stay ahead of the headlines, please subscribe because you might think you are, but aren't. Your subscription actually matters here. That's why we built Patrick Smith Show to bring you real stories, real context. So let's talk about what actually happened, because when you understand the details, you realize how extraordinary this is. Judge Arthur Engoron presiding over New York civil fraud trial. Trump is on the witness stand testifying under oath. And there's been this ongoing situation where Trump keeps attacking Engoron's law clerk on social media, woman who works for the court. Trump posting about her, making it personal, his supporters threatening her, got so bad Engoron issued gag order, court order saying, "Trump, you cannot attack my staff publicly." Share this video with everyone you know because Trump violated that order repeatedly, just couldn't stop himself from making comments. And during one hearing, Trump on the stand makes reference to very partisan person sitting alongside the judge. Now here's the thing, the law clerk sits right next to judge in courtroom. That's literally where she sits. So when Trump says partisan person sitting alongside judge, everyone knows who he's talking about. He's attacking the law clerk again, violating gag order while testifying. But when Engoron calls him on it, Trump claims he was talking about Michael Cohen. Cohen was there in courtroom as witness. Trump says, "No, judge, I meant Cohen, not your law clerk. I wasn't violating your order." And he says this under oath. He's on witness stand. His explanation is sworn testimony. He's swearing he meant Cohen, not the clerk. Think about what happened next. Engoron doesn't accept it, doesn't give Trump benefit of doubt, looks at him and says, "I don't believe you." As the trier of fact, meaning as the judge deciding questions of fact, I find the witness is not credible. The witness, that's Trump, not credible. That's judge saying you're lying to me under oath right now. And then Engoron fines him $10,000 on the spot for violating gag order. That's extraordinary. Judges don't casually call witnesses liars, don't usually make credibility determinations that harsh in open court. They phrase things diplomatically. They say witnesses' recollection differs from the evidence. They avoid directly calling someone a liar. But Engoron was so convinced Trump was lying that he said it explicitly. Your testimony is not credible. You're lying under oath. And here's your $10,000 fine for violating my order. Make sure you're subscribed to Patrick Smith Show because this goes into official court record, permanent part of Trump's legal history. Transcript shows judge said Trump's testimony not credible. Future cases can reference it. Future lawyers can point to it. Future judges can consider it. Trump now has documented judicial finding that he lies under oath. Can't spin that. Can't claim it's fake news. It's in official court transcripts. But wait, there's more. Because federal judge David Carter caught Trump in completely different lie with even more serious implications. Carter was reviewing emails and documents from 2020 election. Trump's lawyer John Eastman had been subpoenaed, and Carter had to go through those emails to determine what was privileged attorney-client communication versus what showed evidence of crimes. Share this with everyone you know because what Carter found shocked him enough to write it in official opinion. Found emails showing Trump's own team told him the voter fraud numbers he was using were false. that there wasn't evidence supporting the claims. That specific numbers Trump kept citing in speeches and interviews were wrong. Trump's people told him this. It's documented in emails Carter reviewed. But Trump kept using those numbers anyway, kept saying them publicly, and here's the kicker. Trump signed sworn court document called verification, legal document where you certify under oath that information is true and correct to best of your knowledge. And Trump signed verification containing those voter fraud numbers his team had told him were false, swore they were accurate when he knew they weren't. Think about what that is. That's perjury. That's knowingly making false statements in sworn court filing. That's federal crime. And Judge Carter didn't just suspect it. Carter wrote it explicitly in 18-page opinion. Said emails demonstrate Trump knew the numbers were wrong but signed verification anyway. Said this was part of conspiracy to defraud United States by using false fraud claims to overturn election. Let that sink in. Federal judge reviewing documentary evidence and concluding Trump committed perjury. Put his signature on court documents swearing to facts he knew were lies. And Carter said it plainly, didn't hint at it, didn't suggest it might have happened. Said the evidence shows Trump knew numbers were false and signed document claiming they were true. That's judge accusing sitting president of lying under oath in official court filing. Make sure you're subscribed because there's still more. Jean Carroll cases. Trump got sued for defamation. Had to give deposition where he answered questions under oath for hours. Made sweeping claims under oath. Said he never met Carroll. Said her allegations were completely false. Said this was political hoax. Strong denials all made while swearing to tell truth. But then cases went to trial. Juries heard evidence. Saw photo of Trump and Carroll together proving he had met her. Heard testimony from other women with similar stories. Heard Carroll testify. And juries rejected Trump's sworn denials completely. Found him liable for sexual abuse. Found him liable for defamation. Awarded Carroll millions in damages. And jury verdict means jury looked at Trump's sworn testimony and said, "We don't believe you. Evidence shows you're lying." That's not technically same as judge making credibility finding, but effect is similar. Trump testified under oath, and fact finders said your testimony is not credible. We believe the evidence, not your sworn statements. And during one of those trials, Trump showed up in courtroom and started causing problems. Sitting there muttering things like witch hunt and con job loud enough that Carroll's lawyer could hear, trying to disrupt proceedings. And Judge Lewis Kaplan had to warn him, had to basically say, you need to stop or I will have you removed from this courtroom. And reportedly Trump said he would love that, like he was daring Judge to throw him out, like getting kicked out of court would be badge of honor. Think about what that reveals about Trump's attitude toward legal system. Doesn't respect it, doesn't think court rules apply to him, treats judges like obstacles to work around rather than authorities he has to obey, and that attitude extends to his testimony under oath. Doesn't think he has to tell truth, thinks he can just say whatever serves his interests and deal with consequences later. Make sure you're subscribed to Patrick Smith Show because when you step back and look at all these incidents together, pattern becomes clear. Judge Engoron says Trump's testimony not credible and fines him. Judge Carter finds Trump signed documents with numbers he knew were false. Juries in Carroll cases reject Trump's sworn denials. Judge Kaplan threatens to remove Trump from court for disrupting proceedings. That's multiple judges, multiple cases, all reaching same conclusion. Trump lies under oath and doesn't respect judicial process. And this isn't about politics. These aren't all partisan judges out to get Trump. Carter was appointed by Bill Clinton decades ago. Engoron is state trial judge in New York doing his job. Carroll juries were ordinary citizens. This is legal system across the board saying Trump's sworn statements are not reliable, that he lies when it's convenient, that he'll say whatever he thinks helps him, regardless of whether it's true. And that's damning pattern. Because if you can't believe someone's sworn testimony, how can you trust anything they say? How can you rely on any commitment they make? How can you believe any promise or explanation? You can't. And that's where Trump is now. Multiple judges on record saying his sworn statements aren't credible. That's not political talking point. That's documented judicial findings in official court records. And here's the question that should bother everyone. Why isn't Trump facing perjury charges? When judges catch you lying under oath, that's crime. It's called perjury, and it's serious. People go to jail for it. Legal standard is that you have to knowingly make false statement under oath on material issue in legal proceeding. And based on Judge Carter's findings, Trump arguably did exactly that. Think about it. Carter found Trump knew voter fraud numbers were false. Trump signed court verification swearing they were true. That's knowingly making false statement under oath in legal proceeding. That's literally definition of perjury. So why hasn't Trump been charged? Answer is complicated. Partly because perjury prosecutions are difficult. Have to prove person knew statement was false. Have to show it was material to case. Have to demonstrate intent. But in Trump's case, Judge Carter literally found, based on documentary evidence, that Trump knew numbers were false. That's pretty overwhelming evidence. So real reason Trump probably hasn't been charged with perjury is political. He's former president. Now he's sitting president again. DOJ policy says you don't indict sitting presidents. And even for former presidents, there's reluctance to bring criminal charges because it looks political, because it sets precedents, because it creates constitutional issues. Make sure you're subscribed because so Trump gets away with what would be perjury for anyone else. Regular person signs sworn court document with false information they know is false. They get charged with perjury. They face prison time. But Trump does it and gets away with it because of his position. That's two-tiered justice system. One set of rules for powerful people, different set for everyone else. And Trump's learned he can lie under oath and face minimal consequences. Yes, he got fined $10,000 by Engoron. Yes, he lost Carroll cases and owes millions. But he's not facing perjury charges, not going to jail for contempt, not barred from testifying, still serving as president despite multiple judges saying he lied under oath. So clearly, consequences haven't been severe enough to change his behavior. Here's what makes this so dangerous. If powerful people can lie under oath without serious consequences, entire legal system loses credibility. Why should ordinary citizens tell truth in court if presidents don't have to? Why should anyone respect oaths or fear perjury charges if Trump can lie repeatedly and face nothing but small fines? This undermines rule of law at most basic level. Says there are two systems. One for powerful people who can lie with impunity. Another for everyone else who faces real consequences for perjury. And that's not sustainable in democracy. That's not equal justice under law. That's privilege protecting the powerful, while ordinary people are held to different standards. Think about the broader implications. Trump has pattern of disrespecting courts, of lying under oath, of attacking judges and court staff, of disrupting proceedings, of treating legal system like it doesn't apply to him. And that reveals something fundamental about his personality and how he views authority. Doesn't think rules apply to him, doesn't respect institutions that try to hold him accountable, sees courts as political enemies rather than neutral arbiters. And that's authoritarian behavior. That's how people act when they don't believe in rule of law, when they think their power and position put them above system. And it's dangerous, because if president doesn't respect courts, doesn't tell truth under oath, doesn't follow judicial orders, that undermines entire system of checks and balances, makes judiciary meaningless as constraint on executive power. And we're seeing that play out now with Trump's second term. Administration defying court orders, ignoring judicial rulings, and it all flows from this fundamental disrespect for legal authority that we see in his courtroom behavior. Pattern started with lying under oath and evolved into wholesale rejection of judicial authority over presidency. Share this with everyone because courts tried. Judges called Trump out, said his testimony wasn't credible, found he signed false documents, threatened sanctions and removal. But it hasn't been enough. Trump keeps lying, keeps disrespecting courts, keeps rising to power despite it all. That's the crisis. That's what these judicial findings reveal. Not just that Trump lies under oath, though that's bad enough, but that system can't or won't impose serious enough consequences to stop him. And if that doesn't change, if powerful people keep getting away with lying under oath, then foundation of legal system crumbles, because truth has to matter. Oaths have to mean something, and people who lie under oath have to face real consequences. Think about what happens next. Trump now has documented record of judges finding his testimony not credible. That follows him into every future legal proceeding. Defense lawyers in cases against Trump can argue, look, Judge Engoron already found his testimony not credible. Judge Carter found he signed false court documents. Carroll juries rejected his sworn denials. Why should we believe anything he says now? That's legitimate argument, and it makes it much harder for Trump to be effective witness in his own cases. His credibility has been officially questioned by multiple courts. His pattern of lying under oath is documented, and that permanent stain on his record affects how judges and juries view any future testimony he gives. Make sure you're subscribed because bottom line is this: multiple judges caught Trump lying under oath. Judge Arthur Engoron explicitly said Trump's testimony was not credible and fined him $10,000. Judge David Carter found Trump signed court documents with voter fraud numbers he knew were false. Juries in E. Jean Carroll cases rejected Trump's sworn denials and found him liable. Judge Lewis Kaplan threatened to remove Trump from courtroom for disrupting proceedings. This is pattern. Multiple courts, multiple judges, multiple instances of Trump's sworn statements being called into question or found not credible. And this isn't political spin. These are official judicial findings in court records. Judges explicitly saying Trump lied under oath and evidence backing it up. Emails showing Trump knew fraud numbers were false. Court rulings analyzing his testimony and finding it not credible. Jury verdicts rejecting his claims. This is documented. This is real. And yet Trump faces minimal consequences. Got fined. Lost some civil cases. But not facing perjury charges. Not in jail for contempt. Not barred from testifying. Serving as president despite multiple judges saying he lied under oath. And that's fundamental problem. Because if powerful people can lie under oath without serious consequences, entire legal system loses credibility. Why should ordinary citizens tell truth in court if presidents don't have to? Why should anyone respect oaths or fear perjury charges if Trump can lie repeatedly and face nothing but small fines? This undermines rule of law at most basic level. Courts tried. Judges called Trump out, but it hasn't been enough. Trump keeps lying, keeps disrespecting courts, and keeps rising to power despite it all. That's crisis. That's what these judicial findings reveal. System can't or won't impose serious enough consequences to stop him. And if that doesn't change, foundation of our legal system crumbles. This story continues. Stay tuned.